The top stories tonight in Wine News. Following his Senate bid, will President Rodrigo Duterte disclose his wealth declarations to the public if he wins a seat? Acting presidential spokesperson Carlos Nograles says there is a possibility.
With no running mate yet, presidential aspirant Senator Christopher Bong Go wants Davao City Mayor Sara Duterte as his vice president for the 2022 election.
And the Food and Drug Administration has approved 4 COVID-19 vaccine brands to be used as booster shots for fully vaccinated individuals.
Good evening, Philippines and the world. Today is Tuesday, November 16, 2021. I am Herlene Delgado.
Join us in the next hour as we deliver today's top stories around the Philippines and in other parts of the world. I'm Angelo Castro III.
We are also seen in 1,935 satellite monitoring centers nationwide and via live streaming worldwide through the UNTV News and Rescue social media accounts and our website, untvweb.com. I am William Theo.
First in the news. President Rodrigo Duterte may release his Statement of Assets, Liabilities, and Net Worth, or SALN, if he wins a Senate seat in the 2022 elections, according to acting presidential spokesperson Carlo Nograles. The palace official added that the president's decision to run is not related to the International Criminal Court's drug war inquiry. Rosa Licos explains why.
President Rodrigo Duterte will follow the procedures in the Senate if ever he wins a seat in the 2022 elections. This include the release to the public of his Statement of Assets, Liabilities, and Net Worth, or SALN. Acting presidential spokesperson Carlo Nograles bared this when asked if the president will release his SALN if he wins in the election, just like what other senators are doing.
Hindi ko alam anong protocol sa Senado, but whatever it is, I'm sure the President will follow whatever protocols or practices there are in the Senate. When he wins as Senator of our Republic, then he will follow kung ano yung mga policies, procedures, and protocols of the Senate.
It was in 2017 when the public was allowed to access the President's SALN. But in 2020, the Office of the Ombudsman limited the access of the President's SALN. Meanwhile, the palace said the decision of the chief executive to run for senator in the next year's election has nothing to do with the crimes against humanity filed against him before the International Criminal Court due to the controversial anti-drug war. Senator Bong Go said President Duterte wants to continue to serve the public.
Wala namang kinalaman sa ICC case yung desisyon ni Pangulong Duterte na tumakbo bilang senador. Ang pagtakbo po ni Pangulong Duterte as senator ay dahil gusto po niyang magpatuloy ng kanyang serbisyo sa taong bayan.
Nasa katawan na po ni Pangulong Duterte ang pagsisil. Yung plano niya, original plan is Go Duterte. Ngunit ayaw ko namang tumakbo bilang Pangulo ng panahong yon dahil inaasahan po natin na tumakbo si Mayor Inday Sara. So, hindi po tumakbo si Pangulong Duterte bilang Vice President. May mga question about unconstitutionality. Sinasabi, bawal daw po yan. So, biglaan lang po.
Meanwhile, Lakas CMD President Martin Romualdez is eyeing the inclusion of President Duterte in their political party's Senate slate. Rosa Licos, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
A day after the deadline of substitutions expired, presidential aspirant Senator Christopher Bong Go believes he is also a victim of substitution. Meanwhile, the senator also wants presidential daughter Mayor Sara Duterte as his running mate. Arlene Delgado will tell us why.
Senator Christopher Bong Go, who is gunning for presidency, is in favor of reviewing the election substitution rules. When asked about his thoughts on proposals to ban substitution via withdrawal, the senator claims he is also a victim of substitution.
Ako po'y biktima rin po ng substitution. So, kung kailangan baguhin, kailangan silipin, okay po sa akin. Para talaga kung desidido ka na dito sa posisyon na ito, may tuldok na kaagad. Hindi yung antayin nyo muna yung sino yung mga tumatakbo. Katulad ko po, masyado masakit sa akin. Kandidato na po ako bilang Vice President. Only to find out tingin ko sa sarili ko ngayon, kandidato na pala ako bilang Pangulo.
Go withdrew his vice presidential bid and availed of the substitution when he filed certificate of candidacy for president under the Federalismo ng Dugong Dakilang Samahan or PDDS, an allied party of PDP Laban Kusi Wing. He said this was a decision of President Duterte and the party. Go has no official running mate yet, but he admits he wants Mayor Sara Duterte as his vice president.
Kung ako po ang tatanungin, personally po, wala po akong ibang pipiliin kung hindi si Mayor Inday Sara Duterte. Ngunit meron po kaming partido at meron pong proseso na dapat sundin, antayin na lang po natin.
The presidential daughter has yet to comment on Go's remarks. The Davao City mayor is running under the Lakas CMD party and was earlier adopted by Partido Federal ng Pilipinas to be the running mate of former Senator Bongbong Marcos. Jorlene Delgado, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
The death or disqualification of an aspirant or candidate after the period of the filing of withdrawal and substitution will still be replaced or substituted, the Commission on Election clarifies. Dante Amento tells us why.
The Commission on Elections explains death and disqualification will fall under involuntary withdrawal. Involuntary withdrawal, according to Comelec, can be substituted under the Omnibus Election Code. Comelec spokesperson Director James Jimenez disclosed that substitution in case of death or disqualification will be allowed beyond November 15 until midday of Election Day.
After this date, pwede pa rin mag-withdraw. Withdrawal is a matter of right. You can withdraw at any time. The question is whether you can be replaced or substituted.
However, Jimenez clarified if the candidate is an independent candidate or will voluntarily withdraw, a substitution will not be allowed.
You can only be substituted if the withdrawal is involuntary, which means death or disqualification. You cannot be substituted if you voluntarily withdrew.
Meanwhile, after the conclusion of the filing of withdrawals and substitutions yesterday, Comelec has recorded a total of 22 people who withdrew their certificates of candidacy. 5 for presidential aspirants, 6 for vice president, and 11 for senatorial aspirants. There were only 10 substitutions. Notable substitutions include President Rodrigo Duterte for Senator, Davao City Mayor Inday Sara Duterte running for Vice President under Lakas CMD, retired PNP Chief Guillermo Eleazar for Senator, among others. Withdrawals, meanwhile, include Senators Ronald De La Rosa and Christopher Bong Go for President and Vice President respectively under the ruling party PDP Laban. Dante Amento, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
The Philippine Food and Drug Administration made their decision and authorized 4 COVID-19 vaccine brands to be used as booster doses for fully vaccinated healthcare workers. Aigo Miguel will tell us why.
Food and Drug Administration Director General Eric Domingo explained that the Department of Health can still give a go signal on the administration of booster doses, even without the recommendation of the World Health Organization Strategic Advisory Group of Experts, or WHO SAGE.
Decision naman ng decision naman ng Department of Health yon. Yung sa SAGE, naman yun di ba? Parang recommendation to countries yon, and of course, hindi naman yun parang hindi naman siya utos di ba, ng WHO sa mga pamahalaan. So maaari din naman na before that ay magbakuna ng DOH kung they decide to do so.
DG Domingo says Pfizer, BioNTech, AstraZeneca, and Sinovac can be used as homologous vaccines. Brands under homologous vaccines require booster doses to be the same type of vaccine as the primary series. Sputnik Light, on the other hand, was approved as heterologous vaccine. This can be given as a booster dose to patients who have received other brands of vaccines. DG Domingo also said the National Vaccine Operations Center will still release the guidelines on the booster vaccine rollout.
So yung mga nakatanggap ng Sinovac, maaari siyang makatanggap ng Sinovac, Pfizer at saka Moderna. Pero ang magiging decision yata ng DOH is that kung nakatanggap ka ng Sinovac, pwede kang choice mo yung Sinovac, Pfizer or Moderna. Kung iba naman ang natanggap mo, pwede kang Pfizer or Moderna yung additional dose.
Meanwhile, Vaccine Czar and IATF Chief Implementer Secretary Carlito Galvez Jr. said the third dose for A2 and A3 sectors can possibly be administered next week.
We are expecting also that our seniors and our people with comorbidities ay baka tingnan natin baka next week baka magsimula na rin tayo. We are coordinating with NBOC na isabay-sabay na natin para at least tumaas ang ating vaccination to 1.5 million.
The government assures there are enough supply of COVID-19 vaccines for the administration of booster shots and third dose for the eligible population. Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
President Rodrigo Duterte has named Court Administrator Jose Midas Marquez as Associate Justice of the Supreme Court. This was first confirmed by Office of Executive Secretary Salvador Medialdea and later announced by Presidential Spokesperson Carlo Nograles. Marquez will replace Justice Edgardo de los Santos, who opted for an early retirement in June. Marquez is currently serving as SC Court Administrator. He also served as SC Spokesperson, Public Information Office Chief, and Chief of Staff of the Office of the Chief Justice.
The Department of Education and the Department of Health can now decide on the expansion of limited face-to-face classes following President Rodrigo Duterte's approval. Meanwhile, DepEd released the list of 20 private schools joining the in-person learning on November 22nd. Janice Inhente reports.
The Department of Education has reiterated its plan for additional schools to include in the implementation of pilot face-to-face classes. With President Rodrigo Duterte's approval, DepEd and the DOH can now begin their assessment and decide on the expansion of physical classes. DepEd Secretary Leonor Briones expressed optimism that the department can further fast-track the agency's goal to include more schools in the implementation of limited face-to-face classes.
Presidente mismo ang nag-approve ng aming recommendation, Department of Health, kaming dalawang agencies. Hayaan na ang dalawang departamento na mag-guide, mag-assess ng mga additional schools na isa sa pilot, na i-expand ang coverage ng pilot. So, mas mabilis na siguro ang decision making.
However, the Education Department clarified that despite having the authority to decide on the limited face-to-face classes expansion, they still need to conduct risk assessment and await clearance from the DOH. Meanwhile, DepEd has also released the list of 20 private schools that will participate in limited face-to-face classes. 3 private schools in every region from Regions 3, 6, 10, and 12. 2 schools in Region 1, also in Region 8. While Regions 7, 9, 11, and Caraga region will only have 1 participating school. Physical classes of participating private schools will begin on Monday, November 22.
At the moment, we do not have data on the number of students and the teachers that will participate in these 20 schools. But we have already asked the supervisors to gather this data in time for the opening next week. Gaano sila kahanda? I believe they are also very ready to offer face-to-face classes. In fact, the regional offices and the division offices have conducted an ocular inspection about the readiness of these schools.
Tomorrow, DepEd will also begin the orientation of teachers and staff in the 20 private schools to ensure school readiness for the pilot face-to-face classes. Janice Inhente, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Mall operators in Metro Manila are seeking policies from the government for restricting minors going to malls. Nel Maribohok will tell us why.
Minors are now allowed inside malls in Metro Manila after it de-escalated to COVID-19 Alert Level 2. But mall operators are asking for the government's intervention in the implementation of health protocols inside business establishments.
And probably the government can help us having a stronger campaign that the health protocols is everybody's responsibility. because you know naman how easy it is to bash the malls or even the security guards. Somebody posts in social media that there are many children and they can see children without mask. Parang it's the security guards' fault.
Siguro hingi lang din po kami ng guidance with regard to toddlers kasi po alam naman po natin mahirap silang turuan magsuot ng face mask.
President Duterte, in a pre-recorded address aired Monday night, urged local government units to consider passing ordinances for age restriction among minors who can be allowed to go to the malls. This came after a 2-year-old child tested positive for COVID-19 after supposedly coming to a mall.
So, yung mga ganito pong additional protocols under Alert Level 2, we're providing the LGUs independence or autonomy na makapag-decide gusto ba nilang i-restrict further, meron lang bang certain settings na dito natin i-allow yung mga vulnerable population.
Metro Manila mayors are discussing the policies in allowing minors as young as infants inside malls. The Philippine Medical Association, meanwhile, suggests to restrict the entry of unvaccinated minors.
Ang suggestion po namin, don't allow po na hindi vaccinated yung 12 to 17 na hindi pa vaccinated para maingganyo po natin na magpabakuna sila.
Nel Maribuhok, UNTV News and Rescue, we serve the people, we give glory to God.
For the first time in 10 months, the country's daily coronavirus disease cases once again dropped to below 1,000. The Philippines today logged 849 more cases of COVID-19, pushing the nationwide tally of confirmed infections to 2,819,341. The Department of Health, or DOH, said the latest count brought the country's active cases to 25,464. Of these cases, 59.1% are mild, 18.61% are moderate, 11.5% are severe, 5.9% are asymptomatic, and 4.9% are in critical condition. Meanwhile, total recoveries rose to 2,748,069 after 2,393 more patients recovered from the disease. COVID-related deaths climbed to 45,808 with 99 new fatalities. All accredited testing laboratories in the country were operational on November 14, but 5 laboratories failed to submit data on time, the DOH noted in its report. Meanwhile, the overall global COVID-19 caseload has reached 253,877,216, while the deaths have surged to 5,107,169, according to the Johns Hopkins University. The U.S. is the worst-hit country with the world's highest number of cases and deaths at 47,221,549 and 764,363 respectively. In terms of infections, India follows with 34,456,401 cases and 463,852 deaths. In terms of deaths, Brazil comes third with 611,346 fatalities.
In other news, the use of face shields is no longer mandatory in areas under alert level 1, 2, and 3. JP Nunez will tell us why.
President Rodrigo Duterte has approved the IATF resolution which no longer require wearing of face shields in areas with low-risk transmission of COVID-19.
Batay sa memorandum ni ES Medialdea, malinaw po na dito sa Metro Manila at sa mga lugar sa ilalim ng Alert Level 1, 2 at 3, hindi na po required ang mga face shield sa mga pampublikong lugar.
However, in areas under Alert Level 5 and those under granular lockdowns, the public is still required to wear face shields. Health workers and individuals in medical and quarantine facilities will also be mandated to wear face shields for added protection against COVID-19. For areas under Alert Level 4, meanwhile, local governments and establishments may impose guidelines whether it will be mandatory or not. With the decline of the use of face shields, suppliers and retailers are now concerned about selling their remaining stocks.
Marami po sa amin mga nanlumo kasi diyan din kasi kami kumukuha ng kinabubuhay namin. Ngayon, nabalitaan namin na mawawala na. Siyempre, malaking ano pa rin sa amin yun kasi dagdag income sa amin yun eh. Binibigay na lang namin siya ngayon ng ng puhunan. Kasi yung iba kasi mayroon pa ring mga kumukuha gaya ng mga nasa ospital. Kasi kailangan pa rin nila naka-face shield. Binibigyan lang namin ng puhunan. Bale, minsan 10 piso, 5 piso. Kasi dati 20.
Humina lang po. Pero may nabibili na pa nung paisa-isa. Hindi gaya ng dati na medyo malakas. Ngayon mahina na. Kasi nga po, yung ibang nakakapanood na hindi na mandatory, hindi na bumibili. Yung iba kasi tulad yan sa supermarket, bawal pumasok yun na walang facial. Yun lang nabibili sa amin.
Several individuals believe that face shield only causes inconvenience, while others were forced to wear one due to the requirement of business establishments in Metro Manila.
Ano po kasi sir, kalalabas ko lang sa trabaho supermarket, kailangan may face shield kasi sa loob. Kaya pag-iingat na rin eh. Kahit voluntary naman na wala, nasa iyo naman kung susot mo, hindi.
However, the Malacanang clarifies that business establishments should revise its protocols and wearing a face shield should be voluntary.
For establishments, they'll have to follow yung protocols natin. Na it's purely voluntary for the users ng face shield. Ibig sabihin, personal choice po yan kung gusto mong gumamit ng face shield pagdating sa level 1, 2, and 3.
JP Nunez, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
The Department of Environment and Natural Resources is encouraging the public to recycle their used face shields. Eileen Cerudo will tell us why.
Wearing of face shield is no longer required in areas under Alert Level 3 and below. The Department of Environment and Natural Resources expressed concern that the used face shield would pile up in dump sites, which would further threaten the environment. Crispian Lau of the Solid Waste Management Commission of the DENR said that the plastic material in face shields can be converted to raw materials or alternative fuel. The public can also dispose their face shield through the local government or other waste management companies for the plastics to be used in other projects.
If you really need to dispose of it, let's turn it into a resource. We can recycle the face shields. It can be turned into other construction materials. It can be recycled back to plastics. It can be an alternative fuel. And all of these are already available nationwide.
For disinfection of face shields, household materials can be used. Soak the face shield in a liter of water mixed with a teaspoon of bleach. Soak for 30 minutes and it will be ready for recycling or disposal. Lau said this would help in curbing the further spread of COVID-19. However, for individuals who do not want to recycle their face shields, they can opt to keep it. Lau said that the threat of COVID-19 is still present.
If we can keep it, let's keep it, no? Because as Yusek said, the COVID may not be going away very soon, and better use it if you can. But if you really need to dispose of it, let's turn it into a resource.
Meanwhile, several environmental groups call for a proper disposal plan from the national government to ensure that the face shields will not add to the country's waste problem. They said a proper ordinance is needed to streamline the disposal and collection of face shields. The DENR has yet to release its data on the amount of waste added since the implementation of mandatory face shield policy in the country. Eileen Cerudo, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
The Department of Transportation is looking to adopt the QR-based ticketing system in all rail lines in Metro Manila. Its implementation may begin next year. Asher Kadapan Jr. details why.
The Department of Transportation finds ways to avoid long queues and make the entry of passengers in train stations faster and easier. One of the proposals for this measure is the utilization of quick response or QR-based ticketing system in all rail lines in Metro Manila.
Yung problem na ina-address natin is really speed ng queuing, no. Gusto po natin mas mabilis makauwi yung mga ating passenger, and kung mas mababawasan yung time na kung saan sila nakapila, may QR code na sila, dire-diretso na po sila, no?
In using the QR-based ticketing system, a particular app is required to be installed in the passenger's smartphones. Passengers may buy the ticket from the app where QR-based ticket will be generated to use for the entry to the stations. Monetary credits may be loaded in the app through electronic payment systems including GCash, PayMaya, and BPI mobile app. The new alternative ticketing system is still being finalized, but the Light Rail Manila Corporation targets to implement it on the first quarter of 2022. The Philippine National Railways, on the other hand, is already procuring equipment for its implementation, while other train systems await its approval by the DOTr.
Mga kailan po yung target natin na implementation yan?
Kasi po magpo-procure po tayo ng early this year, so baka po mga second half po ng 2022.
Una, we will be waiting yung finalization ng project and then yung final approval ng DOTr, and then the moment na sabihan kami ng DOTr na pwede nang i-implement, then we will implement.
Asher Kadapan Jr., UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Philippine National Police Chief Lieutenant General Leonardo Carlos orders La Union Police Provincial Office to review the possible lapses in the handling of drug evidence which resulted to the dismissal of the drug case filed against Julian Ongpin. Carlos says they want to know which aspect of the case have been overlooked to avoid the similar mistakes in the future. Despite this, the Chief PNP expressed full respect on the decision of the court. San Fernando City RTC Branch 27 Judge Romeo Agasita Jr. yesterday dismissed the case for violation of Section 11 of Republic Act 9165 filed against Julian Ongpin because of lack of probable cause. Carlos directed the PNP Legal Service Region 1 to coordinate with La Union Provincial Prosecutor in filing a motion for reconsideration. It can be recalled that on September 18, authorities recovered 12.6 grams of cocaine inside a room occupied by Ongpin and Bree Johnson in a resort in San Juan, La Union.
For the news abroad, more than $1 trillion infrastructure bill was signed into law by U.S. President Joe Biden. Charis Longbowen will give us the details live. Good evening, Charis.
Good evening, Elsie. On Monday, both the Democrats and Republicans stood together as U.S. President signed the bipartisan infrastructure bill into law.
My fellow Americans, today I want you to know we hear you and we see you. The bill I'm about to sign along is proof that despite the cynics, Democrats and Republicans can come together and deliver results. We can do this. We can deliver real results for real people.
For decades, the said law, formerly known as the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, is the largest investment in the country's infrastructure. It includes $550 billion in new spending for upgrading transportation, broadband, and utilities, while about $650 billion will be allotted for existing projects and funds. Biden also added that this law will create good-paying jobs and rebuild the nation's infrastructure, an enormous win for the American people. Elsie?
Thank you, Charis Longbowen, live from Bangkok, Thailand. The U.S. has condemned Russia for conducting a dangerous and irresponsible missile test that endangered the crew aboard the International Space Station, or ISS, and threatens the interest of all nations. The station currently has 4 American, a German, and 2 Russian crews. State Department spokesman Ned Price said the test has so far generated over 1,500 pieces of trackable orbitable debris and hundreds of thousands of pieces of smaller orbital debris that now threaten interest of all nations. He said the U.S. will work with partners and allies to respond to their irresponsible act. NASA Administrator Bill Nelson said he was outraged at the incident. U.S. journalist Danny Fenster has finally been freed after Myanmar military officials detained him for 6 months. Meanwhile, more people are still reportedly left behind bars. Marvin Delphine will tell us why live. Good evening, Marvy.
Good evening, Elsie. Danny Fenster is finally free thanks to the U.S. diplomat and former ambassador to the UN, Bill Richardson, who reportedly negotiated his release face-to-face with Myanmar's ruler, Senior General Min Aung Hlaing. Fenster's release was also met with positive feedback within the Twitter community, with most tweets coming from Myanmar citizens themselves celebrating his release from the country's said dictatorship.
We are extremely grateful that Danny will soon be reunited with his family as we continue to call for the release of others who remain unjustly imprisoned in Burma.
Fenster spent almost 6 months in Myanmar's prison after being convicted with bogus charges of terrorism and treason, which is said to be in part of his previous employment with a media outlet that covered the military's coup. However, prosecution found that the exact allegations against him are unclear and finally concluded his right to freedom. Fenster, like many journalists, is a managing editor of Frontier Myanmar, advocating for social justice. Amnesty groups, particularly the civil disobedience movement based in Myanmar, continue to fight against the unlawful ruling against people who are just doing their jobs like Fenster. The movement also took to Twitter a call for young Dr. Kyaw Kyaw Thet's unjust imprisonment, who simply responded to COVID-19 relief operations. According to the UN, 126 more journalists and media officials remain in detention and 47 remain in custody. Elsie?
Marvy, is the release of Danny Fenster a surprise to the U.S. government?
Elsie, according to Major General Zhao Min-tun, Myanmar's Deputy Minister for Information, the country intended to release a Fenster for humanitarian reasons. He further denied that there was any promise made by the U.S. government to Myanmar in exchange of the release. Back to you, Elsie.
Thank you, Marvy Dolphin, live from Australia. Singapore adds 5 more countries in its vaccinated travel lane, which enables quarantine-free entry to travelers. Rajan Bolivar will tell us why.
Singapore advances to regain its title as the international travel hub by opening its borders to more countries. In an announcement made by the Civil Aviation Authority of Singapore, or CAAS, starting on November 29, Singapore will extend its vaccinated travel lane, or VTL, to India and Indonesia. While a further extension of the VTL program is planned to start from December 6 with Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the United Arab Emirates. According to Transport Minister S. Iswaran, Singapore and India have been in talks regarding the mutual recognition of vaccination certificates. These will enable fully vaccinated travelers to self-monitor upon arrival without the need to be on quarantine. Moreover, the aim is to recommence 2 daily VTL flights, each in the 3 cities of India, Delhi, Mumbai, and Chennai. As for Indonesia, it will be a unilateral VTL for now, until the country reopens its borders to travelers from Singapore. Amongst the countries enjoying the VTL scheme are United States, Australia, Canada, and South Korea, while Malaysia, Finland, and Sweden will also be included in the VTL scheme starting November 29. Rajan Bolivar, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
And those are the reasons behind the news in other parts of the globe. I am Elsie Marcos, live from Auckland, New Zealand. Good evening.
In Nicaragua, it wasn't the mom who wished something for her children, but it was the other way around. Siblings Mercedes and Carlos made a wish for their mother, Isolina, and that wish was not just granted, but they got more than what they expected. Nina Armilio tells us why.
There are parents who want their children to still be with them even during their old years.
to care for them and just make them feel loved and cared for. 96 years old Isolina is lucky to have her only wealth left in this world. Her two children, Mercedes and Carlos, aside from a roof above her head. Both Mercedes and Carlos have also grown silver hair, but they never left their mother's side.
Bueno, yo soy única hija de ella y él, solo somos los dos. Yo los doy la manutención, ¿verdad?, del alimento y lo poco que puedo.
Por eso la estoy cuidando mucho. Pues ya estoy viejez con ella. Así vamos a morir los dos, como viejitos.
For their daily needs, Mercedes relies solely on her husband.
Él es jubilado y le pasan una jubilación poca, pero nos dan esa ayuda y con eso pues él sale así a hacer sus trabajitos y de ahí nos ayudamos y nos mantenemos nosotros y mantenemos a ella, que ella es ancianita, no puede trabajar, y mi hermano que me ayuda a cuidarla.
On the other hand, Carlos collects bottles for a living. But he needed to stop working in order to care for their weak mother full-time.
Bueno, ella hace como 2 años, ¿verdad? Más o menos, ella me le entró esquizofrenia. Ella empezó a hacer delirios, ¿verdad? Y ella hay veces está consciente, habla un poco coherente, pero la mayoría del tiempo ella empieza a hablar como incoherencia.
Mi esperanza es tenerla viva a ella y seguirla cuidando hasta que Dios me venga a traer.
Aside from food and medicines for her illness, Isolina also needs a new roof for her and Carlos's house. Because every time it rains, they endure not just the cold, but also water dripping from the roof.
Bueno, yo le pido una ayuda a Midi, ¿verdad?, a la hermandad, para que me ayuden, ¿verdad?, a hacerle el techo de su casa a ella, porque yo no tengo facilidades económicas para hacérselo. Entonces no me da para hacerle su techo a ella y ella se moja mucho.
Mercedes and Carlos's love for their mother, even in their old years, is an example how children should treat their parents even when they grow old. Just like what the Bible says, "Hearken unto thy father that begat thee, and despise not thy mother when she is old." Caring for the elderly in need is the delight of members Church of God International. MCGI surprised Isolina, Mercedes, and Carlos with not just food and medicines, but also a new roof and wall for Isolina's house.
Gracias a Dios, estoy muy feliz, me siento contenta con Dios, ¿verdad?, primeramente, y después con la hermandad de Midi, porque me han realizado el sueño, ¿verdad?, de tener un techo nuevo y una composición de la casita de mi mamá. Y yo, ¿verdad?, le doy gracias a Dios, a los hermanos que se han preocupado, la hermandad, por ella. Yo le doy gracias a Dios y a la Iglesia de Dios Internacional.
MCGI also helped Isolina consult with the doctor through the MCGI Digital Clinic. Even their neighbors received good deeds from MCGI. They were able to go grocery shopping at the MCGI Free Store and grabbed a free bite too. For all these good deeds, to God be the glory.
Before we close, we will leave you with a word, giving glory to God. From the book of James, chapter 2, verse 24, it says, "Ye see then how that by works a man is justified, and not by faith only." reasons behind the news, November 16, 2021. I am Harleen Delgado.
Reasons we deliver to you as they unfold. I'm Angelo Castro III.
And because we need to know, we will always ask why. I am William Theo. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
Kung ako po ang tatanungin, personally po, wala po akong ibang pipiliin kung hindi si Mayor Inday Sara Duterte. Ngunit meron po kaming partido at meron po proseso na dapat sundin, antayin na lang po natin.
Wala namang kinalaman sa ICC case yung desisyon ni Pangulong Duterte na tumakbo bilang senador. Ang pagtakbo po ni Pangulong Duterte as senator ay dahil gusto po niyang magpatuloy ng kanyang serbisyo sa taong bayan.